He's done it! Will Bosi has made the first repeat of Daniel Woods' Font 9A Return of a Sleepwalker in Black Velvet Canyon, Red Rocks, Nevada. His ascent comes just under a month after he repeated Sleepwalker, the stand start, which he had proposed a downgrade from 8C plus to 8C. Or for our American audience, moving it from V16 to V15. Still pretty hard. Will's ascent of Return of a Sleepwalker came on his 12th session. The session before he'd fallen off the penultimate move 3 times, so he knew he had it in him, but he only had until the end of the month. And unusually for the desert, there was a risk of wet weather coming in and thwarting future attempts. But on that 12th session, success seemed like a foregone conclusion, where he warmed up and did it on the first attempt of that day. Will commented, "The last session before the send, everything just clicked. I was feeling confident, but as the weather forecast was looking pretty bad with a storm closing in, I was only able to take 1 day of rest before heading out for another session. I still felt quite tired from the previous session, so I was unsure about even trying it. However, after warming up, the moves were feeling great, and I decided to give it a first try. The attempt went perfectly up to the sloper, but then I really messed up the next move, through to the slot and almost dropped it. Somehow I recovered and hit the last hard move perfectly too. Pulling over onto the slab was incredible, and I had to take a minute to get my breath before heading up to the top." In climbing Return of a Sleepwalker, Will Bosi joins an exclusive club alongside Simon Lorenzi as one of only 2 people to have climbed 3 Font 9A boulder problems. Will's tick list includes Sean Rabitu's Font 9A in Switzerland, Alphane, which he took 12 sessions to complete, Nale Hukativel's Burden of Dreams that took him 24 sessions to repeat, and that is including, for the geeks out there, the replica attempts. And finally, Daniel Woods' Return of a Sleepwalker, which took him 12 sessions, so the same as Alphane. Commenting on the grade of Return of a Sleepwalker, Will had this to say: "Grade-wise, I still believe that the stand start is only Font 8C or V15, but I do think the sit start adds enough for it to remain Font 9A or V17. In comparison to other climbs I've done at this grade, I think Return of a Sleepwalker comes in around the bottom end of the grade. Burden of Dreams was harder, but such a different style. I think Return of the Sleepwalker probably came in harder than Alphane. Currently, I am very unsure about the distinction between Font 8C Plus and 9A, and I think it will take some time and broader consensus of climbers operating at this level to get it right." This leaves Will with 2 remaining Font 9As yet to climb. Megatron, also in the States, although probably currently underneath a lot of snow, is one that we feel would really suit him. And when we asked him about this last year, the reason he went to try Return of a Sleepwalker first was simply because it inspired him more. So of the 5 9As, and let's just say there's 5 9As for simplicity, you've done 2.
Yeah.
With the remaining 3, the way I'll start this, which one do you want to try the most? And my second question, which one do you think you're most likely to succeed on?
Okay, yeah, so this is different. So the one I'm most psyched for is Return of the Sleepwalker. I've actually just started planning a trip out to go in like sort of mid-January next year, and I'm like so motivated. It looks absolutely incredible, but I don't think it's gonna suit me that well. Like, in general, I don't climb much in sandstone, and it's got like big slopers and huge moves, which isn't really my style. So I think it's gonna be a huge challenge, but I'm really psyched to try that. And at least it's got the stand start, which is obviously easier, so I have like an intermediate goal. I think the one that would suit me the best, though, out of the remaining 3 would be Megatron, so the other one in America, because it's very crimpy undercuts and heel hooks, which is basically most of it. The only thing it's really missing is big drop knees. Other than that, it's like absolute sounds perfect for me, and it's long, which ties into a lot of time that I've spent sport climbing, so I think it, like Alphane, would suit me really well. So, I mean, in the dream scenario, I ascend Sleepwalker, and then later in the year when the snow melts a bit, I could head back out and go and try Megatron, but I don't think I'll have the time for that really.
And I guess perhaps the one, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that Sudan Seoul, Big Island, sit.
Yeah.
That is probably the one that suits you the least. That is also one that seems to be divided between Font 9A and Font 8C Plus.
Any plans to go and fondle the holds on that?
Yeah, definitely. I had one session before the sit was done. I looked at the Big Island one session when I was driving through to Spain a couple of years ago. And I remember thinking like it was going to be really hard, but it felt achievable to do at least the top part. But that was trying the sort of original beta, whereas now a new beta where you're more turned sideways in your toe hook, I think would suit me better. So I'm actually quite excited to go back and try it at some point. But I do not like wearing the knee pads to climb. It's so uncomfortable. So I'm not looking forward to trying the star.
Have you considered though not using a knee pad and instead using a book?
The other is Simon Lorenzi's 9A, Sudan Soul in font. Now this is the one that people seem to get agitated about, whether or not it is or isn't font 9A. But it's had more repetitions confirming it being font 9A than countering it being 9A, so we think it's 9A. And this is probably Will's greatest anti-style, with its big slopers and lack of edges. But if Will has proved anything by climbing Return of the Sleepwalker, it's that he's not afraid of either a challenge or embracing a style which maybe isn't his most natural. But ironically, none of these are the two that Will has immediately mentioned as him wanting to go and try. He's got unfinished business with Stefano Ghisolfi's Excalibur 9B Plus in Italy. He's got really close to that, but was thwarted by distinctly British weather when he was last out there. So hopefully he'll be able to go back this spring when it's dry and get that finished off. The other problem that Will has his eye on is one that he has been to try before. Adam Ondra's Terra Nova, the 8C Plus in the Czech Republic, which has, despite Will's greatest efforts, remained unrepeated. Within the 8 sessions that Will has had on it, he's managed it in 2 overlapping halves, upgrading the latter half, which is called Nova, from font 8B Plus to font 8C. And we, alongside everyone else who's seen the videos of Will attempting this and the struggles he's had, are all wondering the exact same thing. Is Terra Nova font 9A? From my uninformed armchair, it looks like a solid font 9A, and maybe Adam didn't realise quite how good he was back when he made the first ascent. A video will be published on Will's YouTube channel in due course, and we cannot wait to see it.